Welcome back to Cocktails and Classics. I'm Dylan. Joining me, as always, are Ben and Cam. And we talked about it last week. In honor of Warner Brothers' 100th anniversary, go to our Instagram page, at Cocktails and Classics Pod, and enter the giveaway. Because we're giving away 5 codes to win 3 movies: The Maltese Falcon, Rebel Without a Cause, and Cool Hand Luke in 4K UHD for the first time ever. So, go, enter. All you got to do is like the post, follow our page, and tag a friend. It's easy as that. And you could win a movie. It's worth $30.
You win 3 movies.
That's all you got to do.
3.
It's true. You win 3 movies. So as long as you're in the U.S., go enter.
And if you're not sure how you feel about them, listen to our episodes about those 3. We've done the homework for you.
We did all 3. That's true.
We've done it. We've watched them.
We read the manga and watched the anime.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I believe most have about a 7 out of 10 for us, but,
Average.
definitely, yeah,
Somewhere in that ballpark. Yeah.
So go, check it out, enter the giveaway, and hopefully you win. And this week, John Wick, a 2014 action shoot 'em up. To kick things off and get everybody in the right mood, we're doing a cocktail this week. We really could have probably just done anything. There's so much product placement for alcohol in this movie. Is it Peligroso, I think? Like the tequila that...
that
I can't think of the character's name, but...
Leguizamo pours in
yeah.
the beginning. Yeah, I think that's what it is.
He's drinking tequila. At one point, John Wick's drinking Blanton's bourbon. The Russians are always drinking some fucking sort of vodka. I don't know the brand specifically, but we decided to go with the bourbon. We're big bourbon boys over here at Cocktails and Classics, and I don't think we've done it for a minute.
Nope.
So we're doing the bourbon sidecar. You would want to use Blanton's to really tie it into the movie here. Any bourbon will do. But it's 1.5 parts bourbon, 1 part orange liqueur, half part lemon juice, and lemon twist for garnish. You just shake that and strain it. It's a Prohibition-era classic. I didn't have lemons in my house.
Shockingly, I had everything to make this one. I had, including the actual lemon for garnish.
Mine just kind of tastes like an old-fashioned with a little bit more orange.
That's not what it's supposed to taste like at all. I would not describe this as an old-fashioned at all. Because it's like half.
Idea is if it's whiskey and anything, it tastes like an old-fashioned.
Whiskey is or old-fashioned is like whiskey and a little bit of other ingredients. This is half and half. Like, effectively, Like, it's half bourbon and then half the other stuff.
Well, mine is 75% bourbon.
Yeah, it's probably why you don't like
45% orange.
I do like it. It's a little tart for me, but I do like it.
I was saying before we started recording, like, not a heavy amount, but like a couple drops maybe of like a simple syrup or just something to cut that, just because the lemon and then the like orange liqueur is usually like triple sec. It's also kind of like sour, bitter, or like tart. It just tasted a little too tart. Like it could have used just a little something to sweeten it, just a hair.
Yeah, maybe a little less lemon. Or another thing too is like I think what would help is instead of using triple sec, which I also used, is maybe like a Cointreau or something like that instead. Might help too. It's a little fuller, higher quality, higher percentage alcohol. Maybe I don't remember, but
I used like Pierre Franz, which is just like an orange liqueur. It's interesting because on the website for the recipe, it does say, it's like, swap the cognac for the bourbon, add orange liqueur and lemon juice for a tart yet sweet finish. Like, where's the sweet come in?
I mean, lemons are tart
depends on what
sweet.
Bourbon you're
I don't
using.
know, but
That's sweet enough to really like bring it out in a cocktail, though. I feel like.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, Cointreau is 40% alcohol, So I feel like I would actually prefer this with that instead, maybe. But that's just me.
Cam said, make it stronger, please.
I mean, it doesn't taste very strong. At least the way you're supposed to make it, not your 75% Randall you got going on over there.
Yeah, I really goofed it this week, but
if it tastes like an old fashioned, you've gone too far.
I need to buy some citrus fruits this week at the store for the next episode. Check the show notes below and get the recipe, and hit up the casker links to get some alcohol delivered directly to your door. Let us know what you think of the Bourbon Sidecar. Hit us up at Cocktails and Classics Pod. Send us over your thoughts on this cocktail. Does it suck? Is it sweet? Is it too tart? We want to know. You can check out John Wick as of recording on Peacock. And I think they have 1, 2, and 3 on there.
I think so. Yep.
I know they at least have the second one.
Yeah. Did you only watch? Wait, I'm confused. How do you only know it's the second one?
All right, I know they have the first one because I watched the first one.
Oh, okay.
I know they have the second one because it was like, all right, you watched part of the credits. Autoplay the second one. I was like, no, wait.
You could have sat there and watched more.
Yeah. That was mine too. It was like, oh, this one's over. Start number 2. All right, nope, not right now. I will watch it, just not right now.
I was going to say, it's a little different if it was like an episode of a television show and it was like 30, 40 minutes. But if it's another 2-hour movie, like, calm down, Peacock.
Look, man, they just need to keep people viewing their streaming service.
They're just bumping plays. They just keep auto playing.
Yep.
They don't even ask the Netflix question. They're like, "Are you still there?" It's just we don't give a shit. We just need.
We
the
need more
numbers.
views.
We
We need more
care.
views. Keep it rolling. Keep it rolling.
Yep.
Oh, you made it to the end of The Office? We're just gonna roll it back.
I mean, that'd be accurate for
Well,
like
let's be honest.
75%.
Anybody who's going through and watching The Office on
Right.
Peacock is going back to restart it from
Right.
the beginning.
Yeah.
Half of our friend group.
Hey,
I
call
was
them
gonna
out.
say, you know who you are if you're listening.
I think Cam's the only one here who had seen John Wick.
Yep.
I hadn't seen it. Ben, you hadn't seen it?
I had not, which is weird. It's one of those movies that, like, I feel like I definitely should have watched and just was on my radar, but just never really got to it.
Yeah, my mom and dad just went and saw the fourth one. And, you know, since having a child, you FaceTime your parents a lot more often. They're like, "Oh, Dylan, we just watched all the John Wicks on Peacock the other day, and blah blah blah." And then we went and saw the fourth one, and there's this crazy shot in it, and like
I know
explained
exactly
to
what they're
me
talking
this,
about.
like,
They're talking about the overhead, right?
the one above.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yep. And you see all the walls.
God, it's so cool. Yeah.
So my parents had like talked about this, and my dad had talked about John Wick. Like, you know, when this one came out, he was like, "Dude, Dylan, you gotta watch this John Wick movie. It's
Say,
crazy."
dude,
Like,
Dylan, you gotta watch this movie. It's crazy. Does your dad talk like
he
that?
doesn't actually talk
Oh,
like
okay.
that. No.
Son, you must watch John Wick.
Listen to me
Bruh.
here, Dylan.
You're not gonna believe this shit.
Bruh, no cap. This shit bussin'. Respectfully.
So
I
Ben's
like
dad.
to imagine he
Ben's
ends
dad.
the text. He ends the text dash dad. Like he signs
Dad.
it like a letter. This should be bussin'. Yours truly, your dad.
So Ben's dad talks like this. See, he's a 1920 newsy guy, and then my dad is no cap bussin'.
Let's be honest. My dad texts like Adam West from the 60s TV series talked.
Oh my god. He's seen the John Wick movies and has recommended them to me. So it took me almost 10 years to watch this. So it's been hyped up for me. So I'm interested to see what it was like for you, Ben, as well. Because I knew the general, like, oh, like something happens to his dog. And like he's got to go get his vengeance out on them. And I didn't know anything about like the backstory to the dog or like what happens to the dog. So
No backstory. I guess there's a little backstory. Just kidding.
Well, yeah, there's a little like the first 15 minutes is like
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
weird, sappy setup for.
We'll get into it, but the great part about this whole series is that is the first and last time that happens.
I was gonna say
There is nothing
I
like
feel
that
like,
in the opening for the rest of the movies.
well, it just doesn't make sense. Like I don't know. Like obviously
I mean, the premise on
And
its face is, you know, well, how about we can talk about this. Why don't you finish the intro here finally?
So John Wick is a 2014 shoot 'em up action crime thriller, whatever you want to call it. It's an ex-hitman. John Wick comes out of retirement to track down the gangsters that killed his dog and took his car. It's directed by Chad Stileski and uncredited David Lettich. It's written by Derek Kolstad. It stars Keanu Reeves, Michael Nyquist, Alfie Allen, Willem Dafoe's in there, Ian McShane, Lance Reddick, John Leguizamo, the fucking dude from Allstate commercials, Dean Winters.
Dean Winters. Yeah. Also in a lot of other stuff besides just playing the guy from the Allstate
Yeah, he's in a
commercials.
lot of he's like a character actor in
He
like a
was
lot
in-
of shows or movies.
Yeah, well, his big thing was he was in Oz for like the entire run on HBO, which was huge in like the late 90s, early 2000s.
He's also got a recurring role on
And then
SVU.
He's also the Beeper King in 30 Rock.
Oh. But he is probably known by most people as Mayhem in the Allstate commercials.
Honestly, unfortunately, yes. Which sucks. 'cause,
But it
like,
is a funny part.
watching-
It's a funny part.
like in some of the other stuff, like his stuff with SVU or like his stuff on 30 Rock, and he's good. Oh, he's also in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, right? Isn't he like the Vulture?
Oh, yeah, that sounds familiar.
He's like the guy who swoops in at the last second and then takes credit for solving cases, and then he becomes their... Basically, it's the same character he plays in 30 Rock. So if you've seen 30 Rock, you've seen his character in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
He is the Vulture in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. You got that one right.
Yeah, killing it.
I mean, it's, you know, I'm sure he doesn't mind being recognized as Mayhem from the Allstate commercials because I'm sure that's what pays the bills for the most part.
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah.
Like, I'm sure he gets, not, what is it, like, syndication or whatever. I'm sure he gets money from that. Like, every time it airs, I'm sure he gets another check in the mail.
What's interesting is you mentioned the uncredited director David Leitch, maybe. He's actually credited a lot of well-known movies.
A lot more stuff.
Atomic Blonde, Deadpool 2, Fast and Furious, Hobbs and Shaw, Bullet Train. Those are the recent ones.
Which is interesting because the other guy, Chad Stileski, has literally only done John Wick.
He only makes bangers. All right, I understand.
But it makes sense to me because he was a stuntman originally
He was literally Keanu Reeves' stuntman
for the Matrix. Yeah, and I saw he was the stunt person for Brandon Lee in The Crow as well.
Ooh, man, that's a tough.
Well, so here on
That's a tough one to do, right? Like,
yeah. Well,
I could
here on
not
the
imagine being in that situation.
on the Wikipedia page, he was so like after like Brandon Lee's death, like he is the person who they like CG'd his face onto
Oh.
for like the end of the movie.
Yeah.
But I mean, according to this, he also said that a remake of The Highlander, Rainbow Six, and then a couple other projects he's in the works, or he like wants to write and direct. So it looks like he's going to expand from John Wick.
Good luck.
Oh my God. Are we talking about Chad Stahelski?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we talk about his biggest achievement? And that is that he was the stunt coordinator for Kung Pao. Enter
Oh
the
my
Fist. Let's go.
God.
I did see that.
Let's go. Wow. Incredible. I do see that now.
He's literally the guy
Well,
responsible
it
for
says
punching a hole straight
it does
through
say
a man.
stunts. Does that mean he did stunts or he was the coordinator for stunts?
Oh, he might have just.
I
been
think
a
he was
stunt
probably.
person.
He might
I
have
think
just
he
been a-
did
He was a stunt
stunts in the
coordinator.
movie.
No, he probably was just a stunt person for it.
Even so, he was still in the movie, which is great. Even better, he's on camera somewhere.
Oh my
But
god.
his career has basically been Keanu Reeves stuntman. He's been Keanu Reeves stuntman in like all of his movies.
All right, Keanu, I know I've like fallen off of buildings for you, but you got to hear me out about this one.
Look, I know you're the guy who does all the movie stuff, and I'm the guy who comes in just to get his ass kicked. But hear me out. I need you to do this way. This one take, okay?
John Wick currently sits at a 7.4 out of 10 on IMDb, and I noticed that John Wick 2 and 3 also are at a 7.4 out of 10.
What's for it? I can
like
look
an
if you
8.3 or something.
Makes sense. Okay.
It is higher than the other ones. Yeah, 8.3, and the other all the first three are at the same.
Okay.
And then I also saw Peacock is coming out with a
there's a show,
a TV series based off of the hotel. What's the hotel called?
The Continental. So it's
The
based off
Continental,
of
that's what it
Winston specifically in the Continental. Like I think it's called the Continental, but the show focuses around Winston as like a younger
Which
self.
one's
to him.
Winston? Is that
He's the owner of the Continental.
Is it
He's the runner of it.
Ian McShane's character?
Probably. I gotta look.
The old white guy?
Yeah, that's the guy who's in.
Yeah, so the owner of the Continental,
Yeah.
and then they also have a spin-off movie or show with Ana de Armas, I guess, in the same world. I don't know. I kind of wish they'd leave
they're
it
about to
alone
milk
and just
the
let
shit
it
out of this.
sit on its own personally, but whatever.
Nah, baby, Harry Potter TV series coming in.
Ugh. But it's just like, I feel like all four movies are, in my opinion, really good. And I don't know why you need to. I mean, that's probably why, is they want to obviously get more money. Like, I know the actual answer, but like creatively, I wish they just like leave it and have it stand and then be done. Personally.
Yeah.
So there was actually interesting. Like I was reading, I think it was maybe a Reddit thread that was talking about this, and
Hell yeah, brother.
there was a thread about kind of the issue Warner Brothers is going through and how they're going to kind of use their established properties to make money and hopefully kind of transition in toward using the money from the major properties to fund smaller but more, I guess, like award-worthy type movies, bringing in kind of smaller directors and doing things that way versus just relying on a ton of just taking everything to the movie. So I think they're going to try and do more like TV and smaller things like that with their properties.
Yeah, dude, they just announced like a shit ton of stuff today.
Yeah.
About like properties that they're gonna milk. What was the other one I saw?
What I don't understand is how these giant, like, multi-million-dollar companies are like penny pinching. Like, how did you even get into this position? Like, you have so many successful franchises. I don't understand how you got here.
It's because they literally just keep buying shit. Like, why do they buy Discovery?
Right.
What's the point?
I mean, it's like rapid expansion, right? Like, they take on a bunch of debt, buy companies, and then they're like, oh shit, we got all this debt we got to pay. All right, we need to drastically increase our revenue. Where they didn't before, because like if it was a cell-phone thing, like you don't have debt, It's like yourself. I mean, it's the same shit with like Twitter or whatever, right? Like it's like he took on a bunch of debt to buy Twitter, and now he needs to make a lot more money to service that debt. Twitter blew,
I wonder if Warner Brothers just really fucked up when they did the digital release alongside the theatrical release for so long.
Yeah, but they weren't gonna
because
they weren't gonna make ticket money anyway. Like not enough to justify sending it to theaters. You think?
Maybe.
You think?
Because they went. I mean, they lasted for like over a year and a half, didn't they? Or like a year at least.
Yeah, but how much?
Like, I feel like they could have done.
How much did
they could've
how much
done
did Tenet
Dune.
make at the box office?
Well, fuck Tenet. I'm talking about like Dune.
Okay,
Like,
yeah,
I feel
but
like Dune
but Tenet is a major picture by one of the most popular like filmmakers, and that only made $365 million at the box office. he was supposed to be like the return to movie
and
theaters.
it was like his worst. It was like his fucking worst movie he's ever made.
I mean, maybe, but even so, like Dunkirk made 527 million, Interstellar at 701, and Inception had 836. That's a pretty far cry from any of those.
How much did Dune make?
I think Dune made a lot.
Honestly, no.
Really? I mean, I know it was available on streaming, but
Gross worldwide, it's only made 400 million.
no, that's not a lot. No,
Here's my not so hot,
don't do it.
kind of hot take,
God damn
all right?
it.
This movie to me felt like a movie that they made not thinking it was going to be a big deal.
Oh, yeah. No, I think that's fair.
The editing, the pacing, just everything about the first half feels super weird to me. And it feels like it's super low budget. Like, it feels like it's one of those movies where people are like just trying to like, oh, we can get Keanu Reeves to do this movie for like, you know, a packet of cigarettes and a fucking wet napkin. And then they just like try and make like some shitty low budget movie. Like the first half feels like that. And then once the action starts, I'm like, holy shit, this is like a sick movie. Like, it's choreographed
it gets a lot better.
well. The fight scenes are nuts.
Yeah, the fight scenes
The
are really
CGI
well
still-
choreographed.
The CGI is still really bad.
Yeah.
Like when the trucks explode towards the back half of the movie, that was bad. That was really bad.
Yeah.
But
I mean, obviously, as we talked about, the director was a stunt coordinator, and so like, yeah, the best part by far of the movie, of the first movie, is all the fight scenes, all the action scenes.
Yeah, I just accepted that what minimal plot line there really is just to kind of drive you from fight or action sequence to action sequence. Yep. And I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I think that the beginning part, like the first 15, like I said, the first 15 minutes is this exposition about he's lived a normal life, his wife died, his wife got him a dog as her final parting gift to him. And then the guys come and are just dickholes and are like, we're taking your car and we're killing your dog because we feel like it. We don't know who you are. Once you get past all that little part, there is nothing like that throughout the entire, like, 4 movie series, you know, at all, if I remember correctly. So they get that out of the way real quick. And then, yeah, but I do agree. I think that the first is the movie that is the roughest around the edges when it comes to these. I mean, obviously they made the first one and it blew up a lot, and so they were like, oh, let's make more of these. But yeah, the first is definitely like, yeah, the roughest experience. I still think it's really good, but especially once you get to that meatier part in the second half. The first half does take. I remember when I watched it the second, like, or more recently, I remember thinking it takes a lot more time getting to the action than I remember.
I mean, obviously that's what you're there for. You're there for the action, and I'm fine with the setup.
Yeah, it's also a little bit lore building, you know.
Yeah, like I have to have like a reason, because you also find out there's like this like undercover network of like hitmen and stuff at the Continental. Plus, you find out all these like coins, and like you learn like a lot about like what's going on.
Yeah, there's a lot of lore building, but not like it's not super dense. Like it's like, oh, there's this high table that controls all these assassins, and the Continental is one of the hubs for these organizations, and John Wick is this like internationally known hitman who retired from the game and everybody's really terrified of. And it's like, oh, they say he's the boogeyman, and also say he's the person you send to kill the boogeyman.
Yeah.
So, and then it's like they tell the story of like John Wick killing someone with a pencil. He's like, with a pencil.
Yeah, I loved when the dad's telling the son, he goes, "Do you know what you did?"
Yeah.
"What? I stole a car." "Do you know whose car you stole?" "No, John Wick." "Who's that?" "You ever heard of the boogeyman?" "Yeah. He's the guy you call to kill the boogeyman." The kid's just like, okay. And the dad just beats the shit out of him and is like, "Do you know how badly you fucked up right now?"
Right. Because his dad's like, I gotta defend you. You're my son. But likely this is going to end in us dying. Like, likely both of us are going to die because you're a little shithole who decided to steal John Wick's car and kill his dog.
Yeah, I loved with John Leguizamo too, and he's just like, "Where did you get this car?"
Yeah.
We took it from this guy, and then we beat the shit out of his dog, and he's just like, "You need to get the fuck out of here right now."
Well, then he hits him, and then the guy, his dad calls him and is like, "Why'd you hit my son?" He's like, "He stole John Wick's car." And he's just like,
and killed his dog.
"Okay, bye."
Bye.
Like, he's not even, like, concerned about that part. Now he's like, "Oh, no, you did the right thing. You definitely should have hit that guy. Because he fucked up pretty bad."
Yeah, maybe it's just because of the Christmas action movie that just came out, where John Leguizamo's the bad guy. But yeah, I was like, oh, John Leguizamo. They introduce him like right away when he drops off the stolen car, and I'm like, oh, John Leguizamo's gonna be the bad guy. That checks out. Okay, cool. And then within 5 minutes, I'm like, oh, John Leguizamo's gonna be spared and is kind of cool. All right, this is better.
And then he's not really relevant ever again.
That's surprising. It seems like because his character is one of the few that seems like survived in good recur, you'd have him come back here or there for a throwaway scene every now and again.
Each movie just gets like crazier and crazier. Like they just keep pumping the stakes up. Which, like, not in a weird way. It doesn't like jump the shark, so to speak, you know?
Look, I'm just glad I got in on it before they started, driving cars in outer space in this one.
John Wick in space.
It's gonna be Fast and Furious in a minute.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. You're already on 4, and the first one came out less than a decade ago. Like, all right.
I hope that they stop at 4. I don't know if they will continue past 4, but I kind of hope they stop it at 4.
I wish some movies at this point would know when to stop.
That's true.
I don't want to say anything beyond that, but I hope they stop after 4 with 4 because it would be weird if not.
I was thinking the other day that I should buy all of the Fast and Furious movies and just watch through them and just see how terrible it gets, because I've only ever seen the first one.
I love the graphics
I've
of like
only ever seen the first one.
There was one where it was like they're driving on a runway, and there's a graphic of like how long they drive on the runway relative to the speed and stuff, and so it shows like how long this runway is based on their like how long the scene is based on them driving.
Yeah,
and it's like miles, literally miles.
Yeah.
Or like the one, I've seen the scene, I haven't watched the movie, but the scene where they like jump the car between the buildings, like they jump it between one skyscraper to another. That's pretty cool.
Have you guys ever seen the movie Shoot 'Em Up?
Yeah. Clive Owen?
It's like a Clive Owen movie with like...
Kills the guy with the carrot.
Paul Giamatti.
Yeah.
Let's say, I think I remember the scene where he kills the guy with the... Is that the one too? Is that... Because I feel like there were a couple movies that came out around the same time that were similar. Is that the one too where he holds the bullets between his fingers and like holds them by the fireplace and shoots them?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
That movie was dope.
Yeah. That's kind of what I expected going into John Wick. Kind of. Like,
I think it's a little
just
better
like a ridiculous
than that movie, but like it's a little bit better.
Yeah,
like it's not quite as ridiculous.
It's a little classier.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like they do these pronounced fight scenes, but it's never like there's not a ton of gimmicky stuff.
So I thought there were funny moments, but like I was kind of like, what the fuck is happening when they're like in the first little fight scene where the cop just shows up and
you working again?
And you're like,
working again?
Yeah.
Like this is not the first time he's made this call. And also is just kind of aware of what this is, and it's just
I mean, I think he must just be on the take, from the table or whatever.
Yeah,
yeah. And then the dudes who show up to like clean the house when he makes the dinner reservation.
One thing I've noticed throughout, speaking of, because this reminds me of that. One weird thing I've noticed is the currency system in this genre of movie makes no goddamn sense. He hands that dude like 8 tokens, I think, like 8 coins for cleaning up 12 dead bodies from his house. And then later at the movie, I don't remember if it's or at the Continental, I don't remember if it's in this one or 2 or whatever, but he pays for drinks with one coin. Tell me 8 drinks is worth cleaning up like 15 bodies from your house? Is that the conversion rate
Well,
here?
I think he tips that lady a coin. I don't think he like actually pays for the drink.
Really?
In this one, at least.
Yeah, she does say it's on the house.
Oh, maybe. Okay.
Yeah, in this
Then
one, she says it's on the
you're
house, and I
right,
think he
yeah.
tips her a coin.
Maybe
'Cause
there's
he's got,
other
like, a
points
fucking
too.
hole.
I just feel like the currency system in here is kind of weird. Like it doesn't really make sense.
Well, and I mean, literally, when he busts through the concrete. Well, I was so confused at first when he busts through the concrete, and there's like one set that's guns, and then like one stack,
Coins, yeah.
one case that's just full of rows of coins. Just like,
Yeah,
what
I was
the
like, what
fuck?
currency is that?
Well, first I thought it was some sort of weird, like, I'm like, is this some sort of weird body armor? What the fuck is this? And then they zoomed in on it, and I'm like, it's just gold coins? Alright, well, see where this goes. I kept trying to figure out what Willem Dafoe's role was in this. Like, at first, I'm like, oh,
He's a good
trying to kill him.
guy. Yay.
And then I'm like, wait, he's really incompetent, or he's actually just trying to help John the entire time? Okay.
Yeah, I
it's-
mean,
it's the latter.
he definitely,
Got it.
he double crosses the table not the table. He double crosses the Russian guy, and you hate to see it, but he pays for it.
Yeah, I was just waiting for Willem Dafoe to play a bigger part at some point.
I'm just glad. Look, all right, I get that it happens in these types of movies, but nothing makes me more uncomfortable than like a torture scene in a movie. I don't know. It just I hate it. So like when he stabs Willem Dafoe's character in like the leg, and then like he walks away, I'm like, oh, this is only gonna get worse. Like he's going to make this guy like suffer for it, and then Willem Dafoe's like, I'm gonna go out my way, and then basically makes it so they have to just shoot him and take him out quick. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
that's better at least. I don't know if it's better. Probably is better for both him and me as the viewer.
Yeah.
It's like I don't have to see it, and like
Yeah.
you know, he goes out pretty quick versus being tortured for like 20 minutes. So
One of the things too I like about these movies in particular is that I feel like I can actually follow what the action is happening while they're shooting it. I think they do a really good job at that. Like I feel like a lot of movies do a lot of quick cuts, and it's like here, everywhere. Now all okay, and then it's like, what are you actually doing? But I feel like in these, it's like longer shots, and you can actually see what is going on in the action and kind of appreciate it more for that way.
I think that's what makes the choreographed like fight scenes so much better.
Yeah.
Is if you live in that moment and you let like the actors who have like practiced this actually do it, it looks so much better, and you can like really appreciate it more so than it's like quick like cut like shot. Like they do that some when it's like, you know, shooting somebody around a corner or something. Like they do some of those quick cuts, but it's more so to like hide like a VFX like gunshot on somebody's like face or something, you know.
Yeah, and so I think that's definitely one of the strong points of these is I think that's pretty consistent throughout. Is just like shooting it and then letting them do the thing, right? Like letting them actually do the fight.
I do feel like a lot of the plot was just kind of like, I don't know. I feel like they didn't like tie up a lot of the plot in this movie, which like that's fine. Like, what's the character's name? The girl, Miss Perkins. Like, I feel like her whole plot is just wasted at the end. I feel like she could have been a better like villain, but maybe not. Maybe she just
I think she's just an assassin they sent to try and kill him. I don't think she's meant to be that big of a thing. The weird part is that like in this world there's just so many assassins, you know. I think it is in this movie a bit more so for her because she does break the rules of the Continental in the movie, which is, you know, a big deal. I mean, obviously she pays for that too, right? At the end, or I don't remember if it's at the end or whatever. It's near the end where she pays for that action and shows that like if you break the rules of the I think that's part of the thing is they're setting up is if you break the rules of the Continental, you are supposed to be executed, basically. So it's like setting up like, hey, it's a really big deal for anybody to kill anybody inside of this building because it is the most dire consequence.
yeah, this is the what is it? Ollie Ollie Oxenfree. You're at the safe place.
Yeah.
When you played games as a kid, you're at the tree. You're safe. That's that. That's that IRL. Not really, 'cause it's also fake. But
Right. In movie lore, in this movie universe, it is. Yeah.
yeah.
And it's not the only one. Like, it shows it. They get into it in the other movies, but there are other versions of this across the world too. So it's not like this place is special, but they have other hubs throughout the world that these people can
New
go
York,
to.
baby.
Right.
USA.
Yeah, the other movies explore globally more. Probably had a bigger budget.
I was gonna say, I'm reading this review on IMDb, and it kind of hits home. I feel like it's a B-level action movie. You can easily remind of other movies like this, Equilibrium, District 13, The Transporter, and many other action movies with the handsome heroic guy. Keanu fights usually with guns in this movie, but it brings more body action into the shooting scenes, and it becomes more stylish. Great to watch it at home, not boring at all. If you don't expect something like 007 series with Daniel Craig or Bourne series, Keanu kept his face and body almost perfect, so he's still handsome and fit. Good enough for a film like this. But the enemies have less impression. They are fine, but not new, bit similar to the villains from the 90s action movies. I recommend this if you're looking for something easy and fun, and you've already watched every other great action movie, like The Ultimatum or Casino Royale.
Calling Casino Royale an action movie is a little suspect to me personally, but okay. Like, most of Casino Royale is at a poker
I agree. Yes, but I agree with a lot of the points of this.
But I think also you think of the Bourne movies, and aren't they? I feel like they're supposed to be more thriller type.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that too.
As opposed to just
because they're hunting him the whole time. Up. Yeah, there's action sprinkled in, but
but I feel like John Wick's is literally again, the whole point is that it's what's the movie? Is it the Raid Redemption, where it's basically there's a little plot to the movie, but each thing's just basically to get them into this giant building to fight their way up to the top.
Okay.
So the entire point of the movie is the plot is literally just a quick intro to get you into the entire action of the movie. I don't think this was supposed to be set up as this here's this really deep plot of what's going on. It's no, John Wick's looking for this kid and he's going to kill everyone who gets in his way. Let's watch.
Right, exactly. One of the coolest things, and I think John Wick is a very good movie on its own. I think it stands way better as a series with all 4 that have come out. Because one of the cool things about this series, I don't think you need to watch, if you haven't seen John Wick 1, you might need some simple explanation for others, but each movie takes place right after the previous one. So, John Wick 2 literally starts with him going back to his house and putting all the shit back in his safe, and then covering it with concrete and stuff. That's how that starts. Then 3 starts.
Why does he cover it with concrete every time?
Well, because he just wanted to do that, and then he was done. So he said. He just wanted to get revenge and then be done. And so 3 starts off right after 2. 4 starts off right after 3. It's awesome. It's great. You walk in, you go in and you pick off right where you left off, which is pretty cool. The other ones too, like I said, go right into the action for the most part. And so, and that's what kind of feeds into it, right? It's maybe not 2 as much because, it's a little bit, they kind of have to reset it, but from 2 to 3 and 3 to 4 is go. From when you get dropped into the movie, it's just immediately go.
Yeah, so you said it the other ones kind of expand on the world a little bit more.
Yeah, so they expand on the lore of the High Table, and it's not extensive, and I'm sure there's whole plot holes and stuff. I mean, John Wick obviously has plot armor throughout.
I think I read this plot of the second one is there's another hit on him or something, right?
Yeah, I think that's how it starts. Oh, that's right. I remember how it starts. Yes, that is true. That is what the synopsis says, but that's not really how it starts. I could get into it if you want, but you can also just watch it.
That's all right. We'll save it for John Wick 2 episode.
Yeah. I would highly recommend watching them all. I think, in my opinion, 3 is the weakest of all of them, just because I think it goes a little too long and it's a little sillier than I like. But 4 is great. 4 is an awesome movie. Love every part of it that they kind of, I don't know. There's like, in each movie, there's kind of like the big bad. There's like one prime assassin that like will come after him, and Threes was just like super weird and silly, and I didn't like it. But the rest of the movie's still good. It's just, in my opinion, it's not. It's the weakest of the 4, personally. But
Ooh, David Patrick Kelly is in the second one. You might remember him from The Warriors. He plays the bad guy for the Hell's Kitchen.
Warrior.
Common's in the movie too.
Yep. Yeah, Lawrence
Lawrence
Fishburne.
Fishburne, yeah.
So do they ever like lean into like the comedy, or is it just always kind of like?
I think a lot of the comedy
like
just comes from the absurdity of the fights.
Okay.
So like I think so, yeah. Like there's some funny moments, but not like jokes. It's just like situationally funny. So there is definitely some humor in like the absurdity of the fights, or like something happens and it's like, again, it's not like a joke, but it's like, I don't know, a situation presents itself and it's funny.
Wow. John Wick 4 is on the top 250 right now.
That's pretty crazy.
It's number 166.
I mean, it's good. Is it that good? I mean, I think it's really good, but like top 250 of all time?
Holy shit, John Wick Chapter 4 is almost 3 hours long?
It's a long one. It feels shorter than 3, though, personally.
Just a couple of like interesting like trivia type stuff. I thought this one was funny enough that the scene where John Wick's dog poops, the filmmakers paid $5,000 to render fake CGI poop.
Wow. They couldn't just get it to poop? Or just use
crazy,
some
right?
that it had done? Maybe they
Right.
tried that and they were like, no, that doesn't look good enough. We want a coil.
We need a bigger.
Holy shit. Keanu Reeves learned and memorized the nightclub fight sequence the day that the scene was filmed.
Wow. I mean, I saw in a different part that he apparently trained 8 hours a day, 4 days a week for like 4 months, like martial arts and stuff.
Yeah, it says that he did 90% of his own stunts in the film.
Yeah, I saw that too.
So, Keanu, love him, whatever. He's getting to that level, or he's gotten to that level for me. Pedro Pascal's there now, where like the internet is just like fucking obsessed with him, and like kind of just grinds my gears to this point.
Yeah, I get that.
Like Reddit fucking will lick his boots
Wholesome 100.
every chance they get.
Yeah.
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 Like, calm down, dude. Stop glazing him.
I will say, if it's gonna happen to somebody, hopefully I don't eat my words, but at least it's to somebody as unproblematic as Keanu Reeves. Like, have you guys ever seen the pictures of him? Like when like women ask to take pictures of him, he's always holding his arms like out really far from them.
Out?
Upper hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No impropriety here at all, which is great.
No,
we love unproblematic kings.
But I do understand too where it's like,
but he's just a
when
guy.
they get to that point and they're posted like fucking everywhere to the point where you're just like, it makes you annoyed to see them in things through no fault of their own. Like Keanu Reeves, like every interview I've actually seen of him in, like where he's done, is like, it's great. Like he comes across as a super nice guy. I love the fact that as a comic book geek, like the one movie he wants to go back and do is another Constantine movie. Like that's insanely cool that like he actually like cares for the character and wants to do right by it and all of these things. But my God, when people just put him on a people put celebrities on a pedestal like that, it just is like, and then every time they're in something, you get the feeling of like, oh God, we're gonna hear about this for another however long until the internet finally lets it go. Internet fandoms are the fucking worst.
Yeah, I think that's just the general takeaway. Is like worshiping a guy. Like he's just like another guy. Like yeah, he's in action movies and has millions of dollars, but like at the end of the day, he's just like another person that has flaws and is just a dude. It's like I don't know, to worship this guy like some normal guy. It's just like I don't know.
So I guess John Wick won a Golden Schmo Award. I have no idea what this is. For the biggest surprise of the year in 2014, and was nominated for most underrated movie of the year and coolest character of the year for
Hell
John
yeah.
Wick.
Who won coolest character?
I don't know. Let's look. The 2014 Golden Schmoes.
What the hell even is that?
Wow.
I don't know, but I want to be nominated. Is there a podcast category? How do I get to be a part of this?
Wow. John Wick wasn't nominated for best action sequence.
Oh, that was the movie. So that was, I just looked it up. That was the year that Guardians came out, and Rocket Raccoon won coolest character of the year.
Oh, dang. Yeah, the best action sequence of the year went to the Quicksilver slow-mo takedown scene from
Yeah, that makes
Days of
sense, I
Futures
guess.
Past. I mean, that is a really cool scene.
Yeah. But best line of the year went to I Am Groot. So, I don't know.
This has to be some dude's like meme page or some shit.
Maybe scratch that thing where I asked how I get one of these awards.
And what's fucked up is it's in the same category as the Grand Budapest Hotel, which actually has dialogue. And it's like, really?
I don't know if you want to be nominated for Golden Schmo. There's a category called Best TNA of the Year, and it's all women. So I assume that means...
Oh my God.
I just want to say when I made that comment, I did not know that this was this type of award ceremony.
You are... wow, that's something. That's funny. Amazing Spider-Man 2 won biggest disappointment of the year, though.
They have on the trivia a list of actors who are considered for the role of John Wick. Sylvester Stallone.
Ew.
No.
Nope.
Ew.
Bad.
Dolph Lundgren.
Oh, God. No. Still no.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
Bruce Willis.
No, God.
Kurt Russell.
Okay,
Kurt Russell
why
could
is
have been
everyone's... Why is everyone
That's
so
just too old. Too
Well,
old.
so I did see a different piece of trivia, though, that he was supposed to be 60.
Okay, so he's supposed to be like really old.
Okay.
So he's supposed to be
Gotcha.
very old. But instead, they went with someone who's like more seasoned rather than just purely being old.
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage.
Okay, that would have been cool.
That would have been something.
Kevin Costner.
Who?
Ew.
Johnny Depp.
Not serious enough.
And Jason Statham.
That makes sense. I mean,
Yeah, but we already have the transporter.
I think Jason Statham. I think if they made this movie with Jason Statham, it just gets lost in the shuffle as another.
I agree. Yeah.
I think
Another
people would have
Jason
just been like,
Statham action movie?
it's the same movie he's made like 40 times. Sylvester Stallone, if they were doing it as him being a lot older, I could see. Have you guys watched his series? I think it's on like Paramount.
No.
I watched the first episode of it. It's actually pretty good. Like he plays like a fresh out of prison mobster who gets sent to like some rural town in the middle of nowhere. It was good. I was shocked. Didn't think I would enjoy it that much, but it was good. And like watching it, like him play like an older like business mobster badass, I could see him doing well in this. Dolph Lundgren, I could kind of see it the same thing. Good old, John Thundergun. He'd probably hang dong. He'd probably hang dong in this movie. Jean-Claude Van Damme I could see for the same, like, kind of the same reason, where, like, he is Dolph Lundgren, where, like, the European, quieter, deadliest assassin. Kurt Russell, I just think is too, I don't know how to put it. He's too much of, like, and I know this is going to sound just based off of Tombstone, but his characters always just seem too cowboyish to be. I mean, you even think of, like, his character in, like, Big Trouble Little China, or Big Trouble in Little China, and it's like, he's just very shoot first, figure out what's going on later. I just don't think it would have gone well enough cerebrally to play the character.
Yeah.
Bruce Willis, I think people would just assume it's another Die Hard movie.
Yeah.
Kevin Costner is the one that stands out to me. All of the other ones are like big, action movie heroes. And I think of Kevin Costner more for drama than I do for anything. Although, I mean, I guess at the same time, outside of
what
like...
about Waterworld?
The hell is that?
You're right. I don't think of that at all. I pretend that movie never existed. No, honestly, Kevin Costner, like, in action movie roles, I think of, like, The Untouchables, but that's really kind of it.
I'm trying to think of, like, who I don't know. I feel like Keanu Reeves is like perfect for this role.
Yeah. I think he's good. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. He's like stoic, and he almost has that, like, not like a silent type, but he's very kind of like, he's not very social in this movie. Like, literally the only people he really talks to is
Brooding.
Winston, and yeah.
I think the main thing with him is that on the face of it, he's not very imposing or scary. Like, I think other action like stars are, like, they're very buff or tall or big or whatever, but he's just not any of those things. And I think that might add to it, just because, like, oh, they all fear this guy, why do they fear him? And then you see him, like, kill all these people and fight, and you're like, oh, that's why. And so the proof is in, like, him doing all that stuff, not just in his, like, physical appearance, which is kind of cool. So yeah, I think he was a good choice for the movie, and I'm glad it didn't just turn into, like, a one and done thing.
I think with most of the other actors that were listed, it would have been a one and done.
Yeah.
I don't think it would have worked as a series with a lot of the other actors that were considered for the role.
So Ben and I hadn't seen John Wick, so you're gonna get 2 fresh ratings. And then
Squad?
Cam will actually give a
Rating.
nostalgia rating, I guess, and an updated one.
I mean, I did see this movie almost 10 years ago at this point. For the first time. Like, I saw it when it came out. So.
I didn't know if it was... Okay. I didn't know if it was like a recent thing for you or...
No, I had seen all of them. I had seen all the respective movies when they came out in theater.
So like I said, my hot, not hot take was that I kind of... The beginning of this and, like, the first half kind of felt like they didn't know if this was going to be good or not, or, like, as big as it was. So it kind of just felt like a little clunky, a little disjointed to get us to the point where we're going to be, shooting it up and, like, doing everything. And I'd be interested to see, like Cam said, that the later movies just kind of skip all that and just get right into it, which I feel like probably should. I guess it's nice to get a little backstory into the character of John Wick and, like, why he's kind of, like, motivated to do what he does. But I think the choreography of this film, is outstanding. This is why there should be, like, a stunts category for the Oscars, because holy shit, stunt people are amazing, and, like, the fight sequences in this film are just chef's kiss, I think the cinematography is, whatever, could take it or leave it. I think most of the actors are fine. I don't think anyone really is, like, amazing or, like, stands out, like good or bad. But yeah, I think it's okay. I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. I would be interested to see the other ones, but I'm not like rushing to see the other ones. Yeah, I think it's 7 out of 10. I think it's good. I would recommend you watch it if this is your type of thing, like shoot 'em up action. Like you can kind of just tune in and tune out, sort of. Like you don't really have to pay attention. Like you could probably text through the whole movie if you wanted to, and just look up and be like, "Holy shit, he's just capping dudes left and right." Also, this man is not efficient with his bullets. I will say.
You gotta make sure they're
Like
dead,
he
man.
wastes like four.
Gotta quadruple
Yeah, he
tap
wastes like
him.
4 or 5 bullets
Yeah.
on like one dude.
Hey, he's got a lot of
Like,
bullets.
calm down,
It's
man.
fine.
Yeah, he's always reloading.
Bullets are of no. What is that? What is a bullet worth? What, like 10 coins?
Gotta be with all the coins he's got.
Yeah, I think I agreed with a lot of what Dylan said. This is a movie you don't really have to like be super engaged in. This isn't a movie that was made to get you to think. This was a movie that was made for you to just kind of sit back and watch John Wick shoot things and people and blow shit up and do cool shit, which is great. I think those types of movies get a lot of unnecessary shit. The world needs good popcorn movies. It needs good movies that are just like turn your brain off. Not every movie has to be super complex and make you think. And like sometimes I just want to watch an action movie where a guy does cool shit. Be like, wow, that was fucking cool. That's it. This movie gives me that. Plot wise, there's not much there. If you're looking for that, you've come to the wrong place. If you're interested in watching John Wick do cool shit and Keanu Reeves be a total badass, this is the movie for you. I will say, and it's probably because we're on the fourth one, where like I feel like this movie going into it, there was I'd heard a lot of hype surrounding it. I don't know that it necessarily lived up to all of the hype I had heard, but it could be one of those things where I think we talked about it when we did 2 years ago when we did like The Matrix, and it was like, you know, when you watch the first one, but when you kind of like think of the hype of them, it was kind of all of them, like the entire trilogy. I think this kind of gets that too, where like, yeah, there's a lot of hype, but it's also including maybe the other two movies or you know, some of the other things going on. But I would agree, it's a 7 out of 10. Just tune in, enjoy Keanu Reeves being a total badass for a couple hours. And if you're watching on Peacock, just, you know, make sure you're paying attention towards the end, because otherwise you're going to watch the second one right in.
Maybe that's what you want. Maybe you should.
And maybe.
I mean, according to Cam, yeah, you could just watch
I
them all
think
through.
you could watch
if
this
you-
like Lord of the Rings extended edition and just watch them back to back to back to back, if you wanted to.
I mean, if you've got the time, you know,
Right.
sure.
It's the only way I've ever seen Lord of the Rings. My dad and I sat down and watched
Watched
all
all
three of them
three?
extended editions.
What that?
Back
Did
to
you
back
start
to
at
back.
9 a.m.?
I don't know. It took 11 hours though.
Yeah,
It was rough.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Jesus.
Maybe I should go back and actually watch the movies.
They're really good. They're really good.
One thing we did not talk about before you go, Cam, it's the scene where he like. Okay, here's one gripe of mine. It never felt like he just like got the just desserts that you wanted. I feel like the scene where he like goes and gets the guy who killed his dog and like stole his car is like very rushed, and that's like
Yeah, it does seem
I don't
like
know,
he
it just
he
doesn't
takes
feel.
everyone out with the sniper, and then he just kind of shoots the guy. Like there's no build up. Like
Yeah, like
he just kind of like turns around and he shoots him in the stomach, and that's kind of it.
Yeah, I think he might just. It just might be like. I wonder how much of that is like a design choice. Like he's just a no nonsense, like no dramatic flair assassin. And it's like you killed his dog. He doesn't really care how he gets you. He's just gonna get you.
I guess
Like if he
that's like
shoots
his
you in the
like that's
stomach, that's
the
it.
boogeyman aspect.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I don't think he ever shows to care about that is one of the interesting things about this is movies can so the action is stylized, but a lot of action movies like the character has like a catchphrase or like something they say, like when they kill somebody.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Right. Or like, something that basically like gives the impression that the hero is like stylized in some way, like they have a flair for the dramatic and like they kill this guy in this super poetic way. And like John Wick is just not like that and is not like that in anything. Like he's just there to get revenge for his dog and his car. And again, he doesn't really care how he kills you. It's just he's just going to do it. And he doesn't pull punches either unless like he thinks you deserve it, I guess, too. So I don't know.
Yeah, I
That
like
is
how
kind
he
of
spared.
interesting.
I like how he spared.
The
guy?
one guy, the like bodyguard dude.
Yeah,
Oh,
is that
okay.
Kevin Nash? Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the IMDb trivia things that I saw was like apparently he spares him because when he says, like how much weight did you lose? He's like telling him in code how many people are inside.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, yeah, about like 60 pounds, and it's like to tell him that there's like 60 dudes inside,
I gotcha. Interesting.
and so that's like why he yeah, I was like, okay, there's no way I would.
I would
know
not
that,
have picked
but-
up on that.
I don't think anyone did. That's like a J.K. Rowling backstory that you're just gonna drop
Yeah.
like a decade
I
after
mean,
the last
okay,
movie comes out.
at least there's evidence for this. At least there's evidence for this in the movie.
John Wick.
What do you
John
mean?
Wick is
What do you
gay.
mean?
But he has a wife
From the very
so what?
beginning. It doesn't matter what was written about him. It's what I'm saying, and I made it, so it's true.
Exactly. I think this is a really good movie. It's not one of the best movies I've ever seen, but I think it's really good. I think, as you've said, Ben, it's good to have a movie where you can just watch it without, having to really ponder a lot or having to follow like a lot of plot or anything like that. It's really just action movie, cool sequences, done. And it kicked off a great franchise, one that they're gonna unfortunately continue to milk beyond its due. So I originally gave this movie an 8 before I saw it recently. I'm gonna leave it at an 8. Yeah, it's a good popcorn action flick. Highly recommend it. And if it piques your interest at all, would highly recommend just burning through the rest of them because all of them are at least as good as this one.
If you enjoyed this, don't forget to rate and subscribe. Check out our other episodes. Hit us up on Instagram at Cocktails and Classics Pod. And don't forget to enter the giveaway to win one of 5 codes for the Warner Brothers 100th anniversary. Check out the show notes and make yourself a bourbon sidecar. And check us out soon. And as always, watch responsibly.